Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about why is it that as you become more skilled at something, as you become more competent at a particular activity, your level of confidence drops instead of improving, right? Because you would expect that as you become better at something, you would become more confident. At the beginning, yes, but gradually, no. So what's happening there? Why is your confidence going down instead of up? So, first of all, I'm going to talk about why this is happening. Then I'm going to talk about what is happening behind the why. So, kind of what is happening at the deeper level. And then I'm going to give you the tools to deal with it, the tools to kind of counteract this thing, because it's a very human thing. My name is Alexa Spas, and I work with people who are under pressure. The main group of people I work with are actors, but I find that over the years I have worked with other kinds of people who are under pressure, and I quite like that. I quite, whether it's pressure from career or whether it's pressure from like lots of having to juggle lots of different aspects of your life, pressure in general is something that I'm passionate about. And it's specifically about how to do well under pressure. It's not just about being under pressure and surviving, but how to actually learn to thrive under pressure. That's what interests me on this channel. So let's start with this confidence paradox. Why is it happening? Right. Well, you as a human being have something called the negativity bias. In fact, it's not just a human thing, but humans are different. So we all have this negativity bias, which is that we prioritize things that are negative over things that are positive. And that often happens in terms of our environment. And the reason this is happening is because our brain was shaped to protect us. If it hadn't been like that, we would have become extinct. So what's happened is over time, those of our ancestors who had brains who were more threat focused survived, and then the others perished, right? So we have the brains of people who were very focused on threats, much more focused on threats than on anything good happening. And so this negativity bias is there to save our life, right? When there's physical danger. But when it comes to our modern life, where there are very few physical dangers on a day-to-day basis, what's happening is this negativity bias sabotages our confidence. Because here's the interesting thing. The negativity bias was shaped in our brain to focus on our environment. But as humans, especially, we can turn this negativity bias on ourselves. And what happens is when you turn your negativity bias on yourself, it's almost like you get a pair of glasses or a pair of, a microscope, really. So imagine that you're looking at a desk that's really clean. You enjoy looking at it, and then you put things under a microscope and you're going to discover how dirty that desk actually is, right? So the microscope is actually now reducing your enjoyment of your desk, right? And this is what happens with when you become more competent at something. That's wonderful in terms of your ability to do things with that particular skill. But there's a price to pay. And the price to pay is that your standards have gone up, which means that in a way you've shifted the goalpost without realizing. And so now something that used to be fine before is no longer fine, because now you can see all the nuances, all the things you could do better, all the mistakes you're making, all the flaws, so that's where your confidence starts going down. And as it starts going down, of course, it's a bit like a spiral, right? It starts going down, and then you notice more things, and then you try and improve. And as you try and improve, you notice even more things, and so on. And so that's where your confidence goes down. And as I said, you're not broken. This is a very human thing. Now, what do you do about it? So I'm going to give you 3 tools that you can do. So the first thing to say, not as a tool, but as a general principle in dealing with this, is that it's quite clear that because we have this negativity bias inbuilt in us, we have to put in conscious effort to override it. And in fact, how much conscious effort? there's been research on this, quite a lot of research on the negativity bias, actually. Um, and the researchers found that there's a 4-to-1 ratio, or sometimes even a 5-to-1 ratio, over negative versus positive things. So you tend to probably notice 4 times, sometimes even 5 times more negative things than positive things, right? So the scale is really skewed towards the negative. And as I said, when you turn that bias towards yourself, that's not good, right? So because of this imbalance that's natural, to us humans, we have to put in conscious effort to override that so that your confidence can go up as your skills improve instead of down. So what do you do? Well, there are 3 tools that I am going to suggest to you. So the first tool is something called your unique selling points. And you've probably heard that from business, what's your USP? But it works really well for us humans as well, especially ambitious humans who like getting stuff done and like getting stuff done well. What are your unique selling points? Think of at least 3, ideally 5. What is it that only you can do? Maybe it's the way you express yourself. Maybe it's you're particularly good at sensing patterns. Maybe you're particularly intuitive. Or maybe you're particularly logical and really good at coming up with a logical solution, or all these things are your unique selling points. And the more aware you are of what makes you unique, that will improve your confidence overall, which you can then use in particular areas that you're lacking confidence in, especially something like this where you're improving, and then you need a bit of a confidence boost. The second thing to override your this negativity bias towards yourself is I would like you to make a list of your greatest hits. So, what are your greatest hits? Moments in your life that where you really impressed yourself, where you're really proud of yourself. It could be something from your childhood. It could be something from when you were a teenager or an adult. It doesn't matter. And it can also be qualities that you have. So a bit like the USB, but ideally memories of a time where you demonstrated something in particular. And so, yeah, I'm going to make a workbook, by the way. I'm going to link down below where you can download these so that you have it as a template and you can fill it out. And there's way more than just what I'm covering in this video about self-confidence. So it will allow you to work through things methodically and write things down because whether you download the book workbook or not, it's free. But whether you download it or not, I would encourage you to write these things down, the USPs and the greatest hits. Now, the third tool I'm going to leave you with is something I call the pride smoothie. So this is where the other two you can do once and then just keep looking at now and again whenever you need to. But the pride smoothie is something I would like you to do every day. And I think it will help you so much. So the pride smoothie is something at the end of your day, write 3 things that you're proud of during that day. It could be, I encourage you to make those things really small, like you turned up for a class, you didn't, you weren't quite feeling it, but you turned up for it anyway because you want to be consistent, or you did something really kind for somebody, or you noticed a problem and you solved it, and anything like that that you're particularly proud of for that day. Small, big, it doesn't matter. But if you keep doing that, so just try it for a month. Do it every day, and if you can, put it in a special notebook. Now, I know some of you, if it's too difficult to put in a special notebook, just put it in your journal. But every day, put 3 things that you're proud of that day. And then when you look back over the course of a month, you're going to have, 90, 93 things, however long the month is, to look back on. And that's going to really boost your confidence. But also just the practice of daily noticing the things you're doing well will encourage your brain to start noticing things even when you're not making yourself notice things, right? So that is how you counteract your negativity bias, and that's how you retrain your brain away from this thing that's natural but quite frustrating and quite annoying and actually quite debilitating into something that, you're turning your brain into an ally. I hope you found this useful. please download the workbook because it's got loads of other stuff to do with your self-confidence that you can work through. And it's, as I said, it's really useful to write things down. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next video.